All right, so we are going to expand on making equivalent fractions today. So if you still need some help with the equivalent fractions, there are some of the same problems above that were on student book page 55 that you did yesterday. So please go back and view that video if you need some extra help. So today we're going to use what we learned yesterday to help us solve some word problems involving fractions. So yes, that means these are either going to be addition or subtraction problems, where you need to make sure your denominators, or your socks, match, okay? And you'll need to find an equivalent fraction to do that. Now, we have our first word problem here. Dylan spent 1/6 of an hour sweeping the floor, in 1/3 of an hour picking weeds to help his parents. Okay. What fraction of an hour did Dylan spend helping his parents? Now, what we are going to do is we are going to write this in terms of fractions and also in terms of minutes in an hour, and I will help us to do that. But the first thing we do know is that it's asking how much time did he spend helping his parents. This means all together. So we're going to add these two fractions together. So we've got 1/6 plus 1/3. Okay. Now the first thing I want to ask myself is, can I do this addition? Do the denominators match? And my first reaction is, no, no, no. No, I need to make sure the denominators match. Now the second thing I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to look at my denominators and I'm going to think, is there a way I can turn this 3 into a 6? And I think about my math facts and I know, 3 times 2 equals 6. Love when this happens because then I won't need to change this fraction at all. Now, would I do the bottom? I'm pausing so you can say it. You also need to do the top. So, now I'm going to rewrite my fractions, and since I will not need to redo this fraction, I can just go ahead and just rewrite it again. Sometimes it helps. Most of the time it helps to rewrite it. And then I'm going to do my math. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. And now I can do my addition. Do not add these. Okay, you're going to keep the denominator the same. You just changed your socks. Keep them on. They match. They're good. Don't change them. Okay? And then 1 plus 2 is 3. Now, my next step, I'm going to look at this. And I'm going to think, okay, is there a number that I can divide out of both of these to make this fraction smaller, to simplify my fraction? And the answer there is yes, because if I divide 3 out of both of these, I can get a new equivalent fraction. Now, a number divided by itself is always going to give you 1. So 3 divided by 3 will give you 1, and 6 divided by 3 will give you 2. So 1/2. So now I'm going back up and it says, what fraction of an hour? So it's 1/2 of an hour. And in my head, I know that half an hour is the same thing as 30 minutes. Okay, 30 minutes. And then I have my answer. So you'll want to circle your 30 minutes. And you'll want to circle your half an hour. Ooh. So you've got both the fraction and the amount of minutes. Okay. And then I'm going to do one more problem with us. So hold please while I erase very quickly. That's the goal, is to be as quick as possible. And change the problem. Okay, I'm going to flip on to the next page. And we're going to do C on the next page because I see a mixed number. So that usually means, as I've been telling you, that you need to turn it into an improper fraction before you can do any of it. Okay? And so, let me write my problem on the board. After I read it, Rory spent 1 1/6 of an hour swimming, and then spent 3/4 of an hour playing basketball. What fraction of an hour did Rory spend swimming and playing basketball? So, what do you know? It's going to be another addition problem because we're asking for two amounts of time combined, together, all together. How much time did they spend? Okay, so we're going to have 1 1/6 plus 3/4. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I would like to change this into an improper fraction. Now, there are different ways you can do it. I'm going to personally draw it out because I know that helps us a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to show one complete hole. One hole is going to be completely colored in. Okay, now I know if I'm going to draw this like a clock that every 5 minutes there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that wasn't perfect, but you get the picture. That every 10 minutes there's going to be a line. So it's going to look something like this. This is split into 6 pieces. Okay, but I also see, okay, I have 1 more 6th. So I'm going to need to draw another one just so I can color in that 1/6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so when I'm coloring in this one hole, that means I need to color in all of the sections in one hole. And then for my 1/6, I need to color in one more of those. Okay. Now to get my proper fraction, I know that both of these are each split into 6ths, right? There's 6 pieces in one of these. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces colored in. So I have my improper fraction. Now, once I have my improper fraction, I can add the other fraction to it. But, so sadly, these don't match. The first thing I'm going to ask myself, can I turn this 4 into a 6? And the answer, sadly, is no. So my next step here, I'm going to start listing out all of the numbers, multiples of 6 and 4, so that I can find a common denominator that is the smallest number possible. So, 4 times 1 equals 4. 6 times 1 equals 6. Neither of those match, so I'm going to keep going. 4 times 2 equals 8. 6 times 2 equals 12. Again, nothing matches. 4 times 3 equals 12. Wait! I have a 12 for both. So I can use 12 as my common denominator. Now I'm sure a lot of you were thinking, well, can I use 24? Because 6 times 4 is 24. The answer is yes. Yes, you can. But then it's going to add some extra steps for you in the end. Okay. So now my next step is to write these new equivalent fractions so I can finally do my addition. So for 6, in order to change it into a 12, I had to multiply by 2. And what you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. Okay? And I will just rewrite that fraction right now as we're doing it. 2 times 6 is 12. 7 times 2 is 14. And then now I need to change my other fraction. And I multiplied 4 by 3 to get 12, which you do the bottom, you also have to do the top. So my fraction here, 4 times 3 is 12. And 3 times 3 is 9. Now, yes, I can finally add. So when I'm adding, keep the denominators the same and add the numerators. Okay, so I'm going to add 14 plus 9. Now, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So you should get 23. Now, you should have been able to do that in your head. If not, it's okay. I went slow enough so you could catch up to where I was at. Now, you know, and I know, that this now needs to be written in as a mixed number. So, when I'm figuring out my mixed number, the first thing I'm going to ask myself is how many times does 12 go into 23? I know 12 times 2 is 24, but I don't have 24 pieces, so this won't be 2 wholes. Okay, but I do have enough to subtract 12 out of the 23. Okay, and so when I'm doing that, that is the same thing as subtracting 1 whole out of this number. I'm subtracting 12 out of 12 out of there. Taking it out because I want to write it as 1 whole because I'm writing it as a mixed number. Now, the difference between 23 and 12 will be the top of your numerator. Now, for those of you that need to do the math out, you are welcome to do it on the side, okay? But the difference should be 11. Okay? It's okay if you needed to do this. You couldn't do it in your head. Again, I wanted to go slow enough for you to catch up. So we have our mixed number here. So this is going to be 1 and 11/12 of an hour. Okay? So you've got your fraction here, but you also need to write it in terms of hours, in minutes. So I know how to write 1 whole. 1 whole will be 1 hour. That will be the same thing as 1 hour. And when you split a clock into your 12 sections, it should be every 5 minutes. I did not do a good job. 11. Great. So I'm going to erase that there. Okay, so you got your 12 sections. So each one of these sections is going to be 5 minutes. So now, that means there's 11 sets of 5 minutes. So 11 times 5 will give you 55 minutes. Okay? So this is really going to push how much you know about your clocks and how how time works. It's all good. I'm not going to redo this video because this is what real life would be like. Great, so this should for sure help you. Feel free to rewatch this a couple times. If you didn't get something, rewind it, pause it as you're trying to follow along. It's not like real life class. You are now able to pause it if you're like, they're going too fast. You can pause it. So that's the great part about this. Have a good time.